Hi everyone, welcome to Dermsphere. I'm Dr. Bisher.
And I'm Dr. Cassell.
We're both dermatologists or dermatologists in training, and we're here to give you everything about dermatology, including the scientific literature and what's hot in the scientific literature as of today.
We're going to break down some of the leading journals in dermatology and give it to you guys on the most simple level possible and give you the best science that's out there and up to date.
As the nerds here, we're going to read it, we're going to dissect it, we're going to give you what's important, we're going to talk about it, and when you go to the store then, you're going to be very knowledgeable because we believe everything that you do as a consumer should be science-based. That's our belief. Today's topic is retinoids. We want to explore the science behind retinoids because there's a lot out there. Retinols, retinals, retinaldehydes, retinoic acids, tretinoin, adapalene, tazarotene, and now this new one is trifarotene? Trifarotene.
This is a high-level topic, so we're going to try to break it down to you guys as best as we possibly can, talking about topical retinoids, oral retinoids, and everything in between.
This is bothering me, Dr. Cassell, so we're going to have to fix your hair.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
All right, there you go. So let's start at the cell level. So we have the cell, and it's not just the skin cell that the retinoids or the retinoic acid receptor is in. It's many cells in the body, like our nervous system. We have it in the eye, we have it in the heart, so we have it in many different organs. It's not just the skin. So at the cellular level, Dr. Cassell, maybe you can explain to them where this receptor lies and what it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at a cell, you'll see a cell membrane that's basically made of a lipid around there, and then inside of that cell is a nucleus. Inside of the nucleus is where your DNA lives, and DNA gets transcribed into RNA, which you may have heard of, and then RNA gets further transcribed into proteins, which make up many structures in the body. What retinoic acid receptors are they're receptors that lie inside of the nucleus, and when bound to by retinoids, they affect transcription of genes that lead to changes inside and outside of the cell that we can see.
In many different organ systems. So the nucleus is where your blueprints are, and the blueprints are expressed into proteins, and these proteins have many different functions in the body. And the ligand, which is the retinoid, is actually transported into the nucleus, binds this receptor, and affects the gene transcription and translation later on. So these retinoids do many different things, and they're actually involved even in embryonic development of our heart, of our limbs, of our central nervous system, of our eyes. So that's why we don't use these retinoids during pregnancy, and why it's a no-no to be on a retinoid if you're planning a pregnancy or if you're pregnant. So you have to have this period of a washout so you don't have this retinoid in your system, and many of these are fat soluble.
So fat soluble vitamins, your A, D, E, and K vitamins, these are vitamins that need fat to dissolve and to be absorbed into your body. So vitamin A, being a fat-soluble vitamin, has the potential to cross the placenta and affect an embryo in development. And what you don't want is these vitamin A derivatives to bind to retinoic acid receptors in the embryo, because a lot of times what these vitamin A derivatives do is cause maturation and differentiation of cells. And you don't want that to happen prematurely, especially in an embryo, because that leads to the development of birth defects that we see.
Exactly. And when you're fat soluble, that means it stays in the body longer. So you can't just quit a retinoid and expect that it doesn't have an effect on you the next day. So it depends on the specific retinoid. It can stay in the body for a month, for a year even, for 2 years, some of them. So it's very important to check with your physician or with your healthcare provider before starting these if you're planning a pregnancy. So back to the basics. Retinoids are actually vitamin A derivatives. Vitamin A. So you say, well, I eat vitamin A, so am I eating retinoids? Am I eating retinols? You actually are, right?
Yeah.
What are the foods that are high in vitamin A, Dr. Cassell?
So dairy, meat, fish, eggs, all of these contain bioavailable vitamin A. This is vitamin A that you take in and then your body processes immediately and it gets stored in the liver. You also have leafy greens, which are really high in beta carotene. A lot of people have heard of beta carotene in carrots. And this is also a form of basically provitamin A that your body then breaks down and cleaves into retinol in the body, which is affected by many, many different things at the rate of that conversion.
So we said that it goes into the nucleus and it does all these things, right? So can you eat too much vitamin A?
Yes.
What do you mean you can eat too much of it? Can you have too much of a good thing?
This is like a really interesting point, right? Because we learn about this a lot in medical school. If you take too much of a water-soluble vitamin, like your B vitamins, for example, your body will just simply, you'll urinate them out because you can't store them. Whereas fat-soluble vitamins, they get stored in the body, like Dr. Bisher said, and you could actually accumulate them over time and it can cause toxicity.
Exactly. So you can get hypervitamin A syndrome, like where you have too much of it. Because like you said, it's stored in the liver. So if it's stored in the liver, that means if you eat liver, you're going to get more of this, right? So your recommended amount of liver to eat varies by your age, your gender, and other factors. Usually it's 2 portions of liver, that's 3 to 4 ounces every week. So if you're eating liver every single day, you can get toxicity. So that's just something to think about. That's why we don't say, oh, go and just take a lot of vitamin A or eat a lot of products that have vitamin A, because you can get toxicity.
One of the things that we learn about in dermatology often is a condition called pseudotumor cerebri. Basically causes headache, blurry vision. It's basically, was it hydrocephalus? It's basically causing...
What is pseudotumor? Pseudo means fake tumor. How can you have a fake tumor? Well, it's fake because it signifies like the effects of a tumor, but there is no tumor. It's just increased intracranial pressure. There's a lot of pressure, but there is no tumor, and it's caused by this hypervitamin A, or sometimes even just regular doses of isotretinoin or Accutane can cause this. And if you're taking like antibiotics, they can interact with it and they can cause this severe headaches. If you're especially on these treatments and you get headaches or vision changes, you have to stop immediately and get checked out. So we don't recommend just taking vitamin A, say, oh, I don't want to go to the dermatologist, I'm just going to eat liver every day and my acne is going to get better. You could get better, but also you could be doing other things to your body. So in summary, we talked about vitamin A, where we can get it naturally, what it does to our bodies, where it's stored. We talked about the different derivatives of it, including retinols, retinals, retinoic acid, the receptors.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video about the different products in each category that we're going to recommend for you guys.
See you then.